Man, what a night for Warriors fans, and not in a good way. If you were watching that game, you probably felt that same frustration that's been hanging over the team since the season tipped off. We're just 6 games into the new campaign, but it already feels like we've been on a roller coaster with no breaks. One night, they look sharp and locked in, and the next, it's like they forgot what made them champions in the first place. And this latest loss? It's the kind that stings even more because it came against a Bucks team without Giannis. Yeah, you heard that right. No Giannis, and the Warriors still couldn't get it done. That's the kind of thing that leaves fans shaking their heads wondering, what exactly went wrong here? Games like that simply can't happen if this team wants to be taken seriously as a contender again. You can't drop winnable games against a team missing its best player. It's not just about losing. It's about the way they lost, the lack of intensity, the poor execution, and the defensive lapses that let a relatively unknown young guard in Ryan Rollins torch them for 32 points. I mean, really? Ryan Rollins? The same guy who barely got any minutes when he was a Warrior? Suddenly, he's lighting them up like he's the next Steph Curry. That's not just embarrassing. It's unacceptable. And sure, Rollins has been putting up decent numbers early this season, but this was his breakout game, and it came against the team that drafted him. You could almost feel that extra motivation, like he had something to prove to the franchise that let him go. Still, the Warriors should never have let it get that far. And the worst part is, it wasn't even like the Bucks played out of their minds. Milwaukee was solid, but not spectacular. They just exploited Golden State's biggest weakness, their lack of size and presence inside. Bobby Portis and Miles Turner looked like they were in a playground scrimmage, bullying their way around the paint without much resistance. You can't win games consistently in this league when you're getting beaten up down low like that. The Warriors tried mixing it up with different rotations, throwing in guys like Quinn Post, Al Horford, and even Trace Jackson-Davis for stretches, but none of it really changed the dynamic. They need a true big man, someone who can bang bodies, secure rebounds, and make opponents think twice before driving inside. There were, however, a few bright spots in the mess. Will Richard, for one, continues to surprise people. I'll admit, when the Warriors picked him late in the second round, I wasn't completely sold. But the kid's been proving me wrong step by step. His journey from a small Division I program to Florida and now to the NBA shows he's got grit. He's not flashy, but he's smart, and he hustles like every possession could be his last. You can see that chip on his shoulder every time he touches the ball. Watching him develop gives me a little hope for the team's future. And because of guys like Richard and Pods, we're starting to see a shift in the roster. Veterans who used to have guaranteed minutes are now fighting for their spots. Moses Moody and Buddy Hield, for example, might be the next players on the trade block. Moody's a solid two-way guy, but his role overlaps with these younger players who bring energy and upside at a lower cost. As for Hield, he's still a great shooter, but let's be honest. When you have Steph Curry leading the team and Seth Curry set to return soon, how much value does another three-point specialist really bring? Especially one with a big contract. What makes things interesting is that both Moody and Hield can be traded immediately. That gives the front office flexibility to explore moves sooner rather than later. Jonathan Kuminga, on the other hand, can't be moved until mid-January, but let's face it, there's no reason to trade him right now. The kid's been balling. He dropped 24 points last night, grabbed 8 rebounds, dished out 4 assists, and was efficient from the floor. He's evolving in real time, and if he keeps this up, he's going to be one of the team's cornerstones. It's crazy how far he's come since his rookie year. The confidence, the consistency, the swagger. He's finally starting to look like the player everyone hoped he'd become. Still, as good as Kuminga's been, the Warriors' glaring issue remains the same: size. This team desperately needs a true big man. It's not about talent, it's about balance. You can't rely on small ball lineups every night in a league filled with 7-footers who can move like guards. Maybe it's time to look back at some old targets like Nikola Vucevic. He's a steady double-double machine. And while the Bulls are off to a surprisingly hot start, his name always seems to pop up in trade talks. He's putting up around 18 points, grabbing plenty of boards, and even stretching the floor a bit with his outside shot. Sure, his three-point percentage isn't elite, but the mere threat of him stepping out forces defenders to stay honest. That opens lanes for guys like Kuminga and Draymond to attack, which is something the Warriors could really use right now. Imagine a lineup where Vucevic anchors the paint, Draymond handles the defense and playmaking, and Steph continues to do his thing from deep and inside. That kind of balance could put Golden State right back in the mix. The challenge, though, is the Bulls' hot start. They're not exactly in a hurry to break up their core. So the Warriors might have to be patient and hope things cool off in Chicago before making a move. But if the opportunity arises, a trade involving Hield, Moody, and maybe a protected first-rounder could make sense for both sides. It's not a blockbuster, but it's the kind of smart, calculated move that could fix some of the team's current issues. Meanwhile, there's also the lingering question of James Wiseman. Could a reunion be in the cards? It's hard to tell. His first stint in Golden State didn't exactly go as planned, but maybe, just maybe, a second chance could bring out the player everyone envisioned when he was drafted. The Warriors need rebounding and rim protection, and Wiseman, for all his flaws, still has those physical tools. The question is whether the coaching staff believes he can fit back into their system after everything that's happened. On a smaller note, I saw that the team picked up Pods' option, and honestly, that was a no-brainer. The kid still has a lot to learn, but he's got energy and confidence. Yeah, sometimes he talks a bit too much about wanting to be the next guy after Steph, Draymond, and Clay move on, but you have to respect the ambition. He's got that fire, and you can see flashes of it in the way he rebounds and hustles. What he needs now is to become a better facilitator. The effort is there, but if he wants to take that next step, his assist numbers have to climb. Right now, he's an undersized guard who crashes the boards like a forward, and that's great, but to be a long-term piece, he has to develop his playmaking. At the end of the day, though, the Warriors can't afford to keep dropping games like this. Losing to teams without their stars is a dangerous trend. The Trail Blazers didn't have a superstar, and they still managed to beat them. The Bucks didn't have Giannis, and they did the same. Now, the next test comes against the Pacers, who'll be missing Tyrese Halliburton. If the Warriors are serious about proving they're still contenders, they have to come out and dominate that game from the opening tip. No excuses. This is a fully healthy roster, no major injuries, no back-to-back fatigue. It's time to show that those 2 losses were flukes, because the schedule doesn't get easier from here. The Spurs are looming on the horizon, undefeated so far, and Wembanyama is turning heads every single night. The kid's a generational talent, and he's already making life miserable for opposing defenses. So if the Warriors can't handle short-handed teams now, how are they going to survive against a long, athletic, confident Spurs squad that's hungry to prove itself? The league is changing fast, and the Warriors need to adapt just as quickly. The dynasty isn't over yet, but it's teetering, and games like the one against Milwaukee are the kind that can make or break the season if they don't fix what's broken soon. And speaking of fixing what's broken, let's talk about accountability, because that's where everything starts for a championship-caliber team. When you watch this Warriors squad right now, you can feel that something's missing, that killer instinct, that sense of urgency that used to define them. Back in their prime, this was a team that would suffocate opponents with focus and discipline. Every possession mattered. Every defensive rotation was crisp. Every transition play was calculated. Now, too often, you see lazy closeouts, missed box-outs, and an over-reliance on hoping Steph bails them out with another miracle performance. Steph is still incredible, still defying logic every night, but it's not fair to expect him to carry the entire load while others stand around waiting for something to happen. That sense of urgency needs to return, not just from the veterans, but especially from the younger players. Because as the roster keeps evolving, the team can't rely solely on the old guard. The league has changed. It's faster, more athletic, more unpredictable. The Warriors' system of constant ball movement and unselfish play can still thrive in today's game, but only if everyone buys in completely. Too many times this season, the offense has looked stagnant, with guys settling for contested threes early in the shot clock or missing easy opportunities to attack the rim. When this team is at its best, the ball flies around the court like a pinball. Quick passes, smart cuts, everyone moving with purpose. That rhythm has been missing, And until it comes back, we're going to keep seeing the same inconsistent results. Draymond Green has to be the tone setter again. Love him or hate him, when Draymond is locked in, the Warriors play differently. He's the emotional engine, the one who brings the fire and holds everyone accountable. But he can't just be vocal. He has to back it up with energy on the floor. Defensively, he's still one of the smartest players in the game, but he needs help. The rotations are too slow, and when he's switching to cover for teammates, that leaves gaps elsewhere. It's a domino effect, and it all starts with communication. When the Warriors were winning titles, you could hear them talking constantly on defense. Now, that chatter has quieted down, and that's part of why teams like the Bucks can score so easily without even having their star players. And speaking of communication, it's not just on defense, it's everywhere. You can see moments where guys look confused about who's supposed to be where, especially in transition. That comes from a lack of chemistry. This team used to move like a single unit, each player knowing exactly where the others would be. That kind of synergy doesn't just happen. It's built through reps, through trust, through shared experiences. The younger players need to find that connection quickly, especially if the roster keeps changing with potential trades on the horizon. Now, let's circle back to Steph for a second, because even in the middle of all this chaos, he continues to be the heartbeat of the franchise. He's scoring, he's creating, he's leading by example. And at this stage of his career, that's nothing short of remarkable. But what's really interesting is how he's been adapting. We've seen him attack the basket more this season than usual, not just settling for deep threes. That shift says a lot about his awareness. He knows teams are defending him differently now, staying glued to him on the perimeter, so he's using his movement and touch around the rim to stay effective. The problem is when Steph goes to the basket and draws multiple defenders, someone else has to be ready to finish the play. And too often, that second option just isn't there. Klay Thompson, on the other hand, has been a bit of an enigma. You see flashes of the old Klay. Quick release, perfect form, clutch shots, but then he'll disappear for stretches. It's not that he's lost his skill. It's more like he's still trying to find his rhythm within this new version of the Warriors. He's no longer the second option every night, and that adjustment takes time. But for the Warriors to get back on track, they need Klay to rediscover his consistency. He doesn't have to drop 30 points every night, but he does need to be that reliable scoring threat who keeps defenses honest. When Klay's locked in, it changes everything. Before we continue, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Dubs updates. Let's keep going. Whispers are swirling around the Golden State Warriors training camp this week, and they all trace back to one comment: short, sharp, and unmistakably final. Head coach Steve Kerr reportedly told insiders, "That player is off the table for me." Though Kerr didn't name names publicly, the remark has lit up the NBA rumor mill, sparking heated debate over which player has fallen out of favor with the Warriors' longtime architect. Speculation began shortly after the team's closed-door practice in San Francisco, where sources described visible tension between Kerr and one of the Warriors' rotation players. Some claim it stemmed from disagreements over effort and attitude. Others hint at deeper frustrations related to locker room chemistry and the evolving hierarchy around Stephen Curry and Draymond Green. Whatever the reason, Kerr's tone reportedly left little room for negotiation. For a coach known for his composure and player-first approach, such a declaration carries real weight. Kerr has always valued consistency and professionalism above raw talent, a standard that helped shape Golden State's dynasty. Yet with the Warriors struggling to find rhythm early in the season and facing mounting questions about their roster's balance, this kind of hardline could signal a shift in strategy, perhaps even a preparation for a trade or rotation shakeup. Around the league, executives are already watching closely. The Warriors, once defined by joy and cohesion, now appear to be walking a fine line between maintaining their championship core and adapting to a younger generation eager to prove itself. If Kerr has indeed crossed a player off his list, that could open the door for major roster moves before the trade deadline. Still, as with all things in the NBA rumor circuit, nothing is confirmed. Kerr declined to elaborate when pressed by reporters, offering only a diplomatic smile and a quick pivot to the team's next matchup. But the buzz persists, echoing through social media and talk shows. Who is the player KERR has quietly given up on? And what does it mean for the future of the Warriors? One thing is certain. In the Bay Area, silence often speaks louder than words. Stay updated exclusively with the latest Dub Nation news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep getting daily updates on the Warriors. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. Your input is essential for the Dubs community. Stay tuned for the next video.